Again, it's time to talk about your money, and many Americans continue to face inflation. Obviously, I know you feel it, but it's very tempting for a lot of people to try to find some extra money through a home equity line of credit. But this can also cause you some financial pain if you're not careful. Marshall Clay with the Welsh Group joins us to talk about the do's and don'ts. Good to see you this morning.
Hey, good morning, Mike.
It was tempting, especially when the interest rates were lower, but they still are historical lows. So I could see where somebody, man, I'm in need of some cash here to make ends meet. This might be a way to use my home to get some credit.
Exactly right. And I think the typical American family, their home is their largest asset, right? And so with the dramatic increases in home values that we've seen over the last couple of years, right? I mean, they've got a lot of equity that they can tap into. And so the home equity line of credit is a great tool, but there's some cautions, there's some warnings that people should understand.
So let's first talk about some of the ways people can get into trouble if they get this kind of a home equity line of credit.
Right. So the first thing to understand about the equity line is that it's a variable rate loan, which, as you mentioned, that interest rate can move on you. So if you go back just 8 months, you're looking at maybe 3.25% if you tapped into your equity line. Now it's drifted up to approximately 5.5%.
Right.
And that's likely going higher as the Federal Reserve continues to raise these short-term rates. So just understand that interest rate can drift on you. The other thing is that you're limited to up to 80% of your home value. So for example, if you have a $500,000 home, you owe $300,000, you're limited to maybe another $100,000 of equity there. So, there's some cautionary, warning signs there with the
especially if hopefully we don't have a housing crash. Then you end up upside down with that home equity line of credit.
Absolutely.
All right, so talk about some good ways where it maybe makes sense to try it.
Right, so you and I have talked a lot about developing that emergency cash reserve, and that's tough sometimes. We're talking about developing 3 to 6 months of your monthly cash flow need just in checking and savings accounts. A lot of people have a hard time doing that. So I recommend sometimes, use that equity line as a supplement to your emergency cash reserve.
Okay.
So if you only have 1 month, maybe utilize that home equity line as a backstop. Now it's not for frivolous spending. You're not going out buying watches.
It's not free money, no.
Right, and trips and things like that, but use it as a backstop, emergency uses only.
And a lot of our viewers, they might be in heavy credit card debt right now.
Exactly, and so you're looking at the cost benefit analysis. So if you're paying 20% on revolving credit on a credit card, but yet you can tap in your home equity line and pay 5.5%, there's a spread there that makes
nice. A lot of sense. Making up a huge gap. But finally, we got to wrap up.
Yep.
30 seconds. Maybe somebody wants to do a home improvement because, it increases the value of the home if they do so.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the areas that it makes sense to use because you're taking money, you're adding value to your home. So if you can add $50,000 to your home and it increases the home value by 75, that's a great use of your home equity line of credit.
All right, this is Marshall Clay from the Welsh Group. We do appreciate it. We'll talk a lot more about that because the rates we don't know what's going to happen the next several quarters.
Absolutely.
All right, hey, just a reminder, sidelines.